What's going on, guys? So I wanted to do this video really quickly, and before I get started, I want to just major apology for the terrible quality of this video. It's definitely really probably the worst quality video I've ever done, but at the same time, it's the information that counts. Is what I'm saying, it's what I'm showing, which also, by the way, disclaimer, for whoever's watching this, if it's D. Harmesh himself, I didn't pay for these internal notes. I didn't pay, some inside guy that I know or whatever. I didn't send, $100,000 cash in a suitcase in an Uber to some investigator. Who would do that? Come on, I did get a lawsuit. But anyways, it's an inside joke. So if you do have a suspension for code of conduct dropshipping or locked out, okay, if you're locked out, which is still Section 3, there's a lot of information that can be, I guess, gathered here and understood. You want to understand why you're suspended so you don't have it happen again. You also want to know what kind of Amazon is looking for, what they do. A lot of people have no idea. It's like, whoosh, and Amazon really does have a complete, just from seeing this one thing, you're probably going to be like, wow, Amazon really does a lot. So this is just one seller evaluation of what was going on in their account and what was flagging it. So I want to just say that. And I'm also going to show something else, just a screenshot for me, code of conduct, like a code of conduct, just response from an appeal. So, and it'll kind of make sense from showing both. So anyways, let's get started, and let me get myself out of the way because it ain't about me with this terrible video. All right, so if you can see this, let me kind of make this a little bit bigger. And let me try to zoom in. Okay. So if you're probably looking at the red because it's kind of just blurs out in there. It says high risk, okay, fraud. This seller has been selected for H&R, high risk, hit and run. If you see that, and you're like, hit and run. This isn't like a car. It's, so hit and run essentially is like if you're a Chinese seller. I'm not saying it like people are Chinese sellers or do this all the time, but like of course, there's a lot of people in all over the world, India and just a lot of countries that could be, I don't know, have some potential fraud, or I don't know, they enter. I would say, what's the best word to say this? Inner rings of crime for this particular method. Not even just on Amazon, but other places, Walmart, and of course Facebook and whatever. So there's a lot of loading fake trackings and using recycled trackings to basically say you've delivered something when you really haven't, and then basically it's like you've created all these seller accounts, and then this is what a criminal does to ultimately make this whole scheme to rob the sellers and rob Amazon and rob or whatever marketplace it is. Okay, so this is what in Amazon system they suspected this particular seller, and of course I've seen this actual seller who is not doing that, so I wanted to make sure. But what they were doing, of course, was using some recycled trackings. Okay, so it is something that of course some people think that they can do that and then upload the real trackings later. Okay, this is what is still going to happen. You're still going to be classified as a fraudulent seller potentially, and you're going to have that literally right on your account. So okay, I just want to make sure we're clear. And when that's on there, you're definitely your funds are not coming out. Okay, so I just want to make sure that everybody's like, oh, I'm going to get my funds in 90 days. No, you will not. All right, so because if you were doing fraud and you were doing hit and run, how are you? Why would they give you your funds? You've been frauding them the whole time. You didn't even send anything. So you're not getting your funds. Period. So just got to be sure on that. Now, of course, we can get your funds if you got to prove, but everything was legit. But if you literally are at this point and you're suspended, don't expect after 90 days something's going to happen. It ain't. All right. So anyways, if we go to the top, some, mumbo jumbo, whatever that I'm not going to really go over. I mean, there are obviously some things that I can break down, but it's not really important. If you look at right here, let me just zoom in a little bit more. Boom, that's perfect. Wow. Okay. So it says fraud indicators found. context posts, WMS context post max estimated delivery date, or claim rate is higher or equal than 40 for sellers with 100 or more orders, or when the claim rate is higher or equal to 20% for the sellers with less than 100 orders. So again, I want to emphasize this because it's really important. So I mean, like, based on your actual amount of sales and sales history, stuff like that, there's certain percentages that will look more fraudulent than others, or they're looking for ratios that are gonna like clearly flag your account. Okay, so but if you've done a lot more orders, and the ratio, I mean, you're gonna have a little bit more. It's like a free throw. If you're like shooting 20 or 100 free throws versus like 10 free throws, it's easier to, well, the percentages are going to be obviously in proportion to, what you're actually, if you had orders maybe that obviously weren't fulfilled or whatever, or you did put in a recycle tracking, whatever. So you just want to make sure that you are paying attention. Well, I just want to make sure we're not even doing fake trackings ever again. I mean, you should have never been doing it. If you had issues with tracking, obviously because you were using freight, obviously you're using like multiple carriers that had issues with, whatever. People sometimes have softwares that even had trouble entering in correctly on Amazon and had a space sometimes, and of course that obviously causes the problems there, and it doesn't even go in, and it doesn't actually go in for your valid tracking. So then you get dinged. So there's lots of things obviously that can be a real genuine mistake, logistic issue as well. So anyways, back to this. The negative feedback for non-receipt. Okay, so they're looking at their feedbacks, or marginally different. So they're saying they got a different product, or unresponsive seller. I don't know why I've seen a lot of clients that they don't respond to stuff. They just refund. I don't know who's doing that, but that is just terrible. High refund rate due to multiple proactive refunds issued. So keep in mind, high refund rate due to multiple proactive refunds issued, which is when people are trying to put in the fake tracking to ultimately deviate or elude the cancellation rate, which is 2.5%. Okay, so you can't do that. So it's still, even if you weren't even doing like, you're still doing fake tracking, but even if you're, like all of your orders are like the ones you fulfilled are real, and you're saying, oh, I refunded it, so it doesn't matter anyways, it still would be technically a code of conduct, and puts you still in a fraud type of indicator because you're trying to kind of scheme and scam Amazon in the way. So, but there's a lot of people that just do everything, all the above. They're just doing all these things. So it's saying right here, fake, invalid, or recycled on orders, or orders have tracking but are unfulfilled to an incorrect address. So this particular person, this particular seller, I mean, it's saying all this. Now it's saying the word or, not and, okay? But it's all getting thrown into the mix. So that's why the flag was on there. So I'll be very clear on this. Okay. Order RDs, ASNs for fraud indicators selected. So there's specific ones as well. They went to a little bit more of an extreme. They have to do this. Negative feedback, lots of refunds, customer received item from Walmart, and material different, complaints about cheaper items received, no valid tracking, some WMS, many not received, messaging customer, RCM, data points for H&R, hit and run. Did investigator agree with fraud, suggested fraud action? Yes. Okay. Action, selection, fraud account. So they actually deem this a fraud account. Okay. But now this person was an established seller. So it wasn't like a new seller or anything like that. So just throwing that out here. Throwing that out there. Okay. Now we're going to keep going down. So, I mean, they have all this. Okay. They're looking at this blocked and fraud relations. Now, of course, Amazon accounts can get blocked all day long and have a block on them. Doesn't mean they can't be reinstated, but it's definitely a lot harder. Okay, auto-resolve due to change in valid tracking rates, SOP approved by OPS and business teams. Let's see, anything else that would be super helpful today? Wait. I think there's another part. So, I mean, there's specific things that they're looking for, obviously. So, I mean, like previous warnings, enforcements for reason queued. Only consider warrants enforcements for the same reason queued within the last 12 months. So they're looking at, like, obviously people that get suspended for the same reason in the past in a certain time frame. Okay, so it's important to know that people that are getting like naive or just ignorant and they're like, oh, I'm just going to keep doing the same old crap because I got reinstated. It's like, who cares? No, you're getting literally monitored by like a hawk, or like literally all day long. They're like literally watching stuff. So if you think you're just going to try to always get around it, I mean, this is what you're dealing with. Okay. Let's see. So obviously FBA sales plays a role. Check only past 30 days FBA sales in sold order history, and then this, like, they're checking that off. If there's a previous split of action that said they're going to do FBA and they didn't, kind of digs you. When they call, if you answer the phone and or if you don't answer the phone, that's not good. So you do actually want to try to pick up the phone sometimes. If you don't know what to say, you need to start learning what to say. Okay. But you need to be doing a better business model anyways, okay? I want to be very clear on that. Let's see. I think that's about it. Let's see. Warnings. Yeah, there's nothing else that I can really point out that's that significant. Okay, but soul block. Yep. I was gonna say risky sign-ins. If you're doing a lot of IP addresses all over the place and different really sketch locations and stuff like that from your main login, definitely you gotta be really careful there. Trying to think what else. Nothing else I can really. Yeah, nothing else is going to really give you guys anything that's some good juice. But anyways, let's move this over. I'm gonna kind of emphasize this. So this is a code of conduct response from the disbursements department. Now, what's important to actually look at, because everybody's always like, you can't reinstate a code of conduct dropshipping suspension. Like, you can't do it. It's impossible. But it's like, if you understand why you're suspended, like if you understand if you look at the account and you look at your own account and you're like, okay, my account's a mess. I have a bunch of listings everywhere. I have a bunch of user permissions. I have a bunch of, warnings, valid tracking problems, and all these things that are going on. I didn't resolve any of them because a lot of people I see, a lot of clients come in and it's like they haven't resolved anything. I'm like, what are y'all doing? You're not even trying to resolve. You're not even trying to fix anything. It's just like a mess. So it's a combination of things. Okay. So I mean, when you see this and it's like, okay, I want to get my funds. I want to try to obviously get my account back. But you see this, I want everybody to understand this because they're talking about reinstatement. They're all talking about, obviously, I mean, this is obviously still kind of coming from the payments, but at the same time, look at like what they're saying. Okay. You have not sent us sufficient information that we previously requested from you to address our concerns with the account. Okay. Coming down here, we will continue to keep your seller account deactivated to prevent harm to our customers, selling partners, and our store. We will not consider your submission if, okay, if, you see that? Can you say it with me? If. So that's the key word today. The word of the day, Sesame Street style, is if. You got it? Key 3-0? All right, cool. So if your request does not provide evidence that you will no longer pose a risk. Okay, no longer. Okay, so how can you do that? Okay? They're giving you a chance to no longer pose a risk. How can you do that? You're proactively in present and future tense fixing your business. That's what we do. Okay, we're not trying to retroactive come in and do all this as an appeal service. That's not even what we're about. Okay, I just want to make sure we're clear on that. So in all general cases, there is no I'm going to edit this and it was I'll never find out. That's how you get. I know a lot of old appeal services that literally have to keep changing their name because literally Amazon is just shutting them down or just it's bad. So you can't do that stuff. But when you can come in and understand that Amazon will accept things that if you in a present moment change about your business, it will significantly give you an opportunity to maybe not get the whole thing, the reinstate for everything, but you can definitely get into, of course, a territory of getting your funds and getting your maybe an FBA only, maybe obviously some FBA and some half and half, merchant fulfilled orders, or being able to still list merchant listings and stuff like that. So if you are in a position like that, or if you're able and we are able to help put in some things that are legitimate, okay, and I've always said this before, okay, when an Amazon and anybody for that matter, okay, we could even talk about a distributor, we could even talk about another company, but when a distributor that you might be signing up and trying to be I want to resell this person's products, okay, let me switch back on my terrible camera real quick. Well, okay, you want to sell that person's you want to sell that person's products. Well, by you just having a Gmail and not an actual .com email, they won't even let you sign up because they don't think you're legit. They don't think you're professional. But that's actually something the Amazon. I've seen other notes as well where it's like they don't have it's a Gmail. It's not a legit email. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, that's one thing. Not having a website, because a lot of people that are they don't have a website. You don't look like you're a real business. Okay, it's kind of like a website is like your business card, but / your brick and mortar. It's your home base to another business. And if you only sell in one marketplace, that's why I've always hated. I'm an Amazon seller. It's like, okay, so what is that? It's just like this only one piece. You got to be somewhere else. You got to be everywhere. You got to be having you got to at least have a website. You don't necessarily sell on Walmart and Amazon or Facebook Marketplace and all these other places that are definitely still good. We all know that Amazon is definitely the most powerful and has the most volume, but you have to be able to be a seller now more than ever with just some credentials. Your stripes, even as a seller on Amazon, having obviously being the small business badges, maybe having a minority badge, maybe having obviously like any of these things, they play a role in you getting more sales. And who knows, that could definitely play a role in getting more buy box time. But I definitely know that people can look at that and say, oh, I really like this person's I like what they stand for and what they're doing for whatever. So it's definitely it's definitely good. So there's a lot of things that people, as from a business perspective, have this perception and these likes and wants to help them trust your business. But Amazon, most importantly, let's come back to the moment of hand, or the moment of truth, and what we're really trying to talk about. Amazon wants to see your business be legit, okay? And just so many sellers are all over the place. Just, I'm only on Amazon. I'm only doing retail drop shipping. What is that? That is it's just such a trivial 5-year-old business. Okay, it is. It's over. You can do it. You can add in all these things like online arbitrage. If you want to do online arbitrage, cool. If you want to do, obviously, you're still going to obviously get IP complaints and, you're going to have to battle with that, but at least it's better than, messing around with anything else. If you want to do 2-step drop shipping and make that work, okay, it's an option. It definitely is still going to have problems, and you will still definitely have to prove, because Amazon doesn't necessarily know when you do merchant, and Amazon hasn't verified you, and that's another thing too. Amazon has to verify your portfolio of Like who's your last supplier? Where can you show us invoices? Let's see where that was. Okay, let's confirm if that was real, and we can actually call them and just confirm delivery. Was it actually shipped to you? Was it actually shipped to the customer? Whatever. They confirm all that. Okay, very important. So I just want to make sure that we're all clear. Amazon is this one screenshot alone about Amazon is like literally nothing. This is like a hair on my head. Okay, there's way more information, way more that it can as far as what Amazon actually acquires and accrues and analyzes about you as an Amazon seller. So you have to really, really understand that and say, okay, I didn't know Amazon was literally FBI, Secret Service. They are all day long. So it is what it is. So here's the deal. So when we look at screenshots like this, you got to understand this is something that is just giving you enough hope. You want to know this is giving you hope from obviously your funds, but it's also it's saying reinstatement. Now we're not talking about just the funds here. We're talking about obviously, wow, I have the opportunity to make my store no longer a risk. Okay, so I mean, if we can provide that evidence and provide proof and show some skin in the game here, that's something that obviously we can do, and that's something that Amazon has always allowed us to do. I'm the one that really started doing that, hard, because I wasn't just an appeal service. I was obviously a seller. I've always been a seller. I've done every business model on the planet. So when I was adding my own stuff, I'm like, well, this is what you would want to do. You want to use this supplier. You want to add this. You want to add this. You want to show this. You want to show this. This is what I'll show. This is what I might have actually shown to get ungated, to get this. I mean, we have so much data that we've already accrued, and ultimately it was worked before. So then we obviously start, just giving that in to consult clients on, what we know is going to work. Okay. So it gives everybody a really, really, good ability to, maneuver. And we've helped distribution companies, automation companies, obviously, and, everybody get into a better place, to actually, make their business better. So they're not, going to have just meltdowns and just get crucified. Because everybody obviously has, if you're doing the wrong thing and you're not playing by the rules and you're doing against terms of service, it's going to happen. And you're going to have major issues and get suspended. And the code of conducts are so bad at this point that, you have zippo chance of making it work. Unless you obviously just were master. Maybe you happen to just be a seller for 10 years and, the feedback you're getting. Well, first of all, if you're doing a two-step dropship, maybe, of course, I wanted to throw out there, if you know how to do that without having anybody say anything on the feedbacks and everything is perfect and crisp, there's a chance you obviously can get through it. I'm not gonna lie, but there's still, Amazon's even re-verifying everyone, even if you're doing everything right. If you have any metric issues, whatsoever, that's just okay, he's not doing this right, he's not doing that right. We need to audit him. Okay, it's like IRS. It's just crazy. So that's how bad it is these days. So it is. I've told everybody. It is really important to get FBA under your belt, especially during Christmas time. Majority of suspensions always happen during Christmas, anyways. Especially when it comes to logistic issues, tracking, and that's the last thing you want to have happen because, man, I don't even know how many people are going to get popped during Christmas, but it's gonna be a bloodbath. So as we get into this, you just need to understand and know what you're getting into. If you're going to keep forcing this and keep doing retail or keep doing all this stuff, it's if you're going to keep doing it, it's going to get worse and worse. Mark my words. Even online arbitrage by the end of, I'm gonna try to say it. I'm gonna say a month that is not what I think it's going to be. So it's not that month. I'm gonna say May. It's going to probably be a really, really tough. So, and it could end up very similar. So kind of right now with code of conduct and stuff like that. Right now, code of conduct is almost just it's just a nuclear explosion. So if you were drop shipping even retroactively, and now you're even doing everything the right way, you could even be doing FBA. There's still there's still code of conduct drop shipping suspensions because so many people were doing a lot of stuff that it ultimately is if someone says something on feedback, it can definitely probe things, and so that can be a problem. I mean, technically, I just want to throw this out here. If you were doing FBA now, and you were doing any kind of fake tracking manipulation or whatever at some point, I mean, there could have been a stretch you robbed basically $10,000 or I don't know, and then now you're back in. Now you're trying to act like cool. It's like you're slinging packs and be like in drugs and stuff like that on the streets, and then they'd be like, oh no, I'm good. I'm an investor. It's like all right. I see how this is. So you're still gonna get popped. Okay, same exact way. So you got to understand that that's how it is. You got to be careful, but there's always hope. There's always a way to kind of get through this. I also wanted to say last thing before I close. This is very, very important. As far as methods to kind of get these accounts back, I usually always start with trying to get the funds first, because as you saw in the notes, there's already a block on the account or for hit and run and stuff like that. So that's something that ultimately does help open things up tremendously to get eligible for reinstatement. And once you've gotten the funds, it's like, because you were never going to get the funds if you were suspected of fraud. But once you got the funds, then ultimately it's there's no liability at that point. Amazon's already identified and resolved everything. They know who you are. Now it's just a matter of you no longer being a risk, and you actually being somebody that they can trust your plan. They can trust what you've done and who you are now. Maybe you've added some new things in the business and everything. So that's really, really important, because as we progress, I mean, I've just said from the last course I did years ago, you always got to be adding in new things. Okay, you can't be just being holding on for dear life. Please don't change. It's everything's always changing, and you have to really, really keep bolstering your business and adapting to what things are. I mean, FBA is obviously great right now because, again, it's eliminating 90% of the BS so you can concentrate on, money making tasks and scaling relationships with your suppliers, relationships directly with the brands, exclusives, getting contracts, getting better pricing, getting all kinds of things. There's lots of things. We can go over all that in another video. It's a long video already. But anyways, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do to really, really step your game up as a business owner, e-commerce seller, wholesaler, private label, tons of stuff. I love private label more than wholesale because obviously there's just more longevity and it's yours. You create it, you can mold it, you can add new products and stuff like that to it, and build a clientele. And it just seems more of you're building something off of it versus just a recycle, just creating something that you're selling and making money. It's it takes the fun out of it to me. But making money is obviously good, so that's why obviously doing wholesale and stuff like that. You have, if you can pay attention to the data and the algorithms, tons of opportunity. Okay, retail arbitrage is nothing. Online arbitrage is nothing really special at all. There's nothing special about it. It's just easy, and you can obviously take advantage of shipping and stuff like that, which you have to pay for shipping for stuff. Sure, I get it, but it's the end of the age. So just keep in mind, these are some things you wanted to know. Hopefully this is a very helpful video. Hopefully we obviously can all grow, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.